Hey, my friend, a 5-minute quickie, and the heads up is, doesn't matter how much you've been on this journey, when something takes you unexpectedly, sometimes we just go to the negative straight away. And how can we learn from this? How can we think of getting into a better state and use those examples to think more clearly? Have a listen to my little personal example. Hey, welcome to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast with me, Paul Clough. And this is an FMQ, a 5-minute quickie podcast, which never lasts 5 minutes. It always goes a little bit longer. But it's a chance for you and I just to muse, to think of a subject, to talk about it for a few minutes, and then spend time thinking, seeing how it would change our life if we maybe developed it a little deeper. And maybe sometimes these 5-minute quickies will go into a longer podcast where we can dive deeper and produce processes, hypnosis processes, NLP processes. Don't worry about the names. They're just processes for making our life and your life absolutely better. Getting rid of anxiety, fear, all those other hang-ups and issues that we have, and have the life we deserve and make dreams come into reality quicker, bigger, better than you could ever dream of. But they're the longer podcasts, and this is a 5-minute quickie where we break down the complicated into simple, because in simplicity there's genius, and that's what we do here. So if you want to just think for a little while, see what happens, see what resonates inside you, and when it does, you go change the world.
Help me! Help me, please!
If you want to help yourself, be yourself, and grow, then look no further, because you're here. Personal Development Unplugged.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Clough.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Hey, it doesn't really matter how much you know, how much you've been on this adventure of personal development and you've learned all these wonderful new skills. Things do bite you on the bum. Things that you should know better. And they just come along because we just fall back sometimes into the normal way of, well, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because it got me. I was looking at one or two emails, and I saw an email come from a particular person who I'd been working with a little while ago. And all it was a callback. And that's a service I do, that people just give me their number and I call them back. Yeah, I'd seen him, and there was this callback sign, callback email. And the first thing I thought of was, damn, didn't work. And my mind went through all the things I could have done wrong, all the things I did do wrong, but didn't. And then all the things that I've got to go through to try to put it right. And then I thought, well, maybe not. But I don't know. And then I went through another few negative scenarios. And I thought, well, bugger it. I'm just going to call. I'm going to call that person. And we'll find out. Because I could remember the session. And the session was, well, it's like when you think of something's gone wrong and you're in a slightly negative state, your memory is slightly more negative. You tend to think of the things that didn't go quite as well, as opposed to the things that went really well. So I was thinking of all these things that could have gone better, or I felt could have gone better, and not realising that it was just my mind trying to get me to, I guess, to protect me in a way that I'm ready to give any answers that were required of me. Anyway, I phoned this person up, and there I was still expecting the worst. Because we do, don't we? The old saber-toothed tiger and all that stuff. Fight and flight. And stuff we don't really need this day and age. But there it was, all in my head. But I'd done the phone call. I said, hey, it's Paul. How can I help? And they said, well, can't talk to you for the moment because I'm in the middle of something. But I just want to say, I haven't smoked for the last 5 weeks since we met. And I was on between 50 and 60 a day, Paul. And it's awesome, but it's something else I want to talk to you about. Something else. So bear with me, I'll come back to you, but I'm so pleased. And we agreed to another phone call. And there I was, thinking the worst, and then getting this wonderful, wonderful feeling of, life can be good. Because it is a good feeling, because when you do some work and it is an out and out, outstanding success, and if you have to work for it as well, because sometimes things come really easily, and sometimes there's one or two things where you really have to go for it, go out on a limb and really dive into your resources. And I remember having to do that. It's such a lovely feeling. And I thought to myself, I know I nearly got there, but why did I? I wonder why I'm still just jumping back into that old thing of fearing the worst. How could I stop myself? Because why would I? Because there are more options than just that one, the worst. There are so many different options. And when we avail ourselves of those options, whatever comes from the next move, like my phone call, I'd be able to answer it in any way, shape or form because I'm prepared in all options. But it was just nice. It was nice to remember this anyway, because it's learning. It's another learning of the stuff you know. And just to remember, well, actually, yeah, you get that fight and flight. You get that think of the worst case scenario. But then you can just say, whoa, stop, just for a moment. What else could this mean? What data have I got to even make this decision that the worst has happened? And there isn't any. And when there isn't any, you have to find it. You have to find the data, the truth. And then you can make a decent decision. But so before then, you just have to have an open mind. Be comfortable. Be easy. So yes, I just want to share with you that I was going to say it happens to the best of us, but I'm not one of the best of us. But even with loads of knowledge in this subject, we still get blindsided occasionally. But then it's all about the learning, isn't it? So it was a little bit like, hey, you, my unconscious mind, let's have a think. How best can we protect ourselves? We can think of all the opportunities or all the scenarios without jumping to the worst. And then we go from there. And that would have made it, well, that would have taken, I didn't go into that fight and flight for very long, but I needn't have gone into it at all. I could just been aware. So that's just the thing. I wonder what it was really, get you to think of times in your past where you've maybe jumped to the most negative conclusion and notice that was wrong. That wasn't the answer. So the next time you have that situation, we can learn from the past and we can take an open mind. So we can be more resourceful because we're not, when you're in that negative emotional state, you're not thinking clearly. But when we're more relaxed and comfortable in our way, in our body and our mind, we can see it clearly. We can open up our vision to see all opportunities, not just the one right in front of us, that negative one. So there you go. It's a 5-minute quickie that lasted about 8 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know. But I hope it just gives you something to muse about and to remember. We don't always have to jump to the worst. Well, we'd never have to jump to the worst conclusion. We can take it in and then look for other examples. Okay? Something to muse about over your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, your glass of water, a beer, and just muse, my friend. So with that, it's time to fly.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.